Hey guys!
Hiya.
Welcome to Now That's What I Call a Talk Show. I'm Fay.
And I'm Jossy.
And I'm on socials.
And she's on the socials. We have a really good show for you guys today. We have an American drag queen.
Yes, we are jumping over the pond as per usual.
Yeah.
We're literally everywhere sometimes.
Yes, we will be joined by Yves Saint Croissant.
The storyteller.
I love that name. The storyteller of drag.
But first of all, what a bloody week. Like,
It's been a full-on
seriously, the coronavirus
Well, it's been dominating
is
the news.
dominating the news. And that's all
Worldwide.
we've kind of seen. 35 cases in the UK. That's quite scary. Not even told to go to the doctors. It's kind of like call 111.
Mhm.
And like we are all for that. Like call 111. Don't go to the big like places and like infect others. And that's what seems to be happening. All the upcoming big events are now in talks of, are we going to cancel? And that is really worrying, not just for obviously health reasons and stuff, but for actual culture and profit and things and businesses. That's going to majorly affect us, and we're going to be really, really hit.
Yeah, and it's not just us. This is affecting 60 different countries now, 87,161 cases of corona. That it's
Have been ordered to drink. No, I'm only joking.
Yeah, well, we don't drink corona.
Well, no, that's probably why we're still here and healthy and fine, because we don't actually drink it.
Yeah.
But we've also been watching lots of new TV. Has everyone seen RuPaul? I love the fact that these queens are fabulous, and they did a two-parter.
Yes.
Which is my favorite. I love when we
Yeah.
have a two-parter.
Yeah.
It makes me get to understand the queens better. And I feel if there was more queens on right now, certain people that I kind of fell in love with a little bit when I was watching them, I would have been like, ugh, whatever.
Yeah.
But when I watched them, such as, the worst name ever, is it
Heidi in
the closet? Worst thing ever, get over it, whatever, blah, blah.
We think
okay.
we might change that.
I wonder if it's going to be a big thing. But it's like, the way she danced.
Oh.
Like, bitch
I
was
wasn't
on
expecting
it.
it.
I was
Wow.
not expecting it.
No, she was like, one of them little, like, wind-up toys that you kind of get. She just, woof, and she just
Someone put
went.
20 pence in her went,
Someone put
go.
20 cents in there, and she just went, woof, and did her thing. So, yeah, she was fabulous.
It was fabulous, that.
Who is your current favourite after one episode?
Oh, I think it's the same as you.
Should we say it together?
Well, which is yours?
Let's say it together. Widow.
Yeah, Widow. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I'm
Love.
expecting some really, really cool
Love,
things.
love,
She
love.
was just
The way she threw herself into a split, I was like,
wow.
damn.
I even felt it. I was like, whoa.
Did you get Peppermint vibe with costume?
A little bit.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I've seen that before, but I like the reinvention. It was bright, it was in your face. And weirdly enough, before I grasped, you know what I'm like with the names, but at first I thought it was like Widow Von Dutch, like the brand. And when I saw her fashion, like when she came out with the big, like, it was almost like a gym wear, but really bright, like, colours, I thought, is she like part of that fashion almost brand at the city? It was very weird. And then I realised she's not called that.
She could be
but I do like that name, Widow Von Dutch.
Widow
do you know
Von
what I mean? I'm liking it. Could be even Widow Von Butch.
Widow
maybe.
Von Butch.
I'm just throwing names out there for that other person that reading his name. Any other favourites, Jossy? I'm just going to be on socials, guys.
Well, as well as Widow Von Du, my favourite as queen on that show was the one and only Nicki Minaj.
It was so good.
Yeah.
It was like,
Love her.
it was so good. It was so different, and it was like a different standard. And I loved they did the rap, and the rap was really good.
Yeah.
The dancing was really bad, really bad. But oh my god, Rue is literally throwing that drag con money around.
Oh yeah.
She's like, lip syncs, 5,000 here. I was like, drag con did well.
Well,
awkward.
RuPaul is raking it in right now because RuPaul is everywhere. But I, for one, I'm really happy that the new season is back, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I am as well. Other in the TV as well. Oh my god, Coronation Street, guys.
Wow,
what's going on? Jeff! No, Jeff!
This so watch Corrie. This is the storyline Coronation Street where Jeff, the gentleman in that photo, is basically emotionally abusing his wife Yasmin. Spoiler alert, but this happened on Friday's episode, right? This is just after this is messed up. He killed a chicken and made her eat it without her knowing, and halfway through when she was eating it, he told her, oh, Charlotte Bronte tastes good. That was the name of the chicken. And she literally just spat it all out.
It was so intense.
It was horrible to watch because, like, over the past few months, we have seen how he has been abusing her, but it's not physical.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
not raising his hand, but it's highlighting that emotional abuse can happen, and he is up to something. So thank you.
Up to something.
Why did I say thank you?
Up to something. He's evil, but the granddaughter is going to come and save the day. She's going to swoop in. She's probably going to find his weird video or the video of when he recorded her. We are Corrie fans.
It's just twisted.
Who else is a Corrie fan? Put your comments in. We want to know your bloody opinions. Will that rap get caught out? And just thanks as well.
Oh yeah, my hair. Thank you.
Oh, not mine then. No. Oops. Anyway, moving on because no one likes my hair. No, I'm only joking. Obviously,
I'm saying, yeah.
Also, we've just noticed as well, like breaking news live with us. So basically, a transgender from female to male is suing a gender clinic.
She is suing the Tavistock Centre, and basically for letting her
Kira
transition. Kira Bell is suing the Tavistock Centre.
Did you just say? Whoa, what pronouns are we using? Are we using she?
Well, yeah, because if she's going back to a girl, that would be our preferred pronoun.
Well, just first thing as well. Damn.
Oh God, yeah, she transitioned back. Like,
she transitioned.
Damn. Give her another 10 years. She would have been a very, very fit lad.
Very, very fit. But the whole, it's so worrying because how she describes it is obviously she was given free reign.
Basically.
At 16. Mm-hmm. And like, just as male to female, female to male, different planets. Totally. Like,
oh, yeah.
Wow. We'll go into it another time. But like, this person had facial hair, Adam's apple development, really developed, and that is so worrying
because you don't know how reversible that is.
But after everything, and I'm all for like making sure she's okay and stuff, she's now going to sue the gender clinic. And hey, Sandy, Sandy, share this video now. She's now going to sue the gender clinic and add more, in my opinion, more stress onto something.
Yeah.
Like the gender.
Oh,
it's so hard. It's so difficult.
At the moment, it's absolutely insane. Like, I thought wait times were bad back in the day, but now you literally have to wait 48 months from seeing your GP to seeing that.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
The actual people that can prescribe the hormones. I just don't get it. And like you said,
I want her on the show. I'm going to put that out there. Anyone that knows or can get in contact, we want her on the show, and we will get her on the show. But, like, seriously, I get where she's coming from, but you don't then go after the bloody, like, you don't bite the hand that feeds you. And it literally did feed her and help. And I just feel like that's, like, for me, like, yeah, like, seek support and all that stuff. But it's not as if she's, like, visibly trying to transition back.
Yeah. And I think the thing as well, people will start to say, oh, well, if people are transitioning earlier, they're going to regret it. We may see some more of that, but there's lots of people who did transition young and do not regret it and are not going to change back. So
it's a worrying one. It is a worrying one, but I think realistically to sue and go that far,
I think it's because it could affect others.
Yeah, massively. And there needs to be standards, and there is standards, but there needs to be better standards, because if someone is getting through the net, and that's basically what it is, to then fully transition. I mean, I don't even know if this person had surgery, but the surgery itself, wow, like different level once again.
For female to male,
yeah. But like, what do you guys think? Do you think there is enough support and people are getting seen? Because in my opinion, after seeing what I've just seen, like, clearly are. Like, people are clearly getting seen. 16, transition, just not very long. Looks amazing. The support was there. Has it just not worked out for her? Was it just like, not as she planned? As we keep saying, stop latching onto these labels, guys. Because just because it seems popular at the time, once you get your beard, can't go back. Literally. I can try. You can't go back. But I want to bring our first guest on. Yeah, we've got so much to talk about, of course. And we've got so much to talk about after as well. But let's get our first guest on.
Excited.
Very excited. I'll let you do the introductions.
Okay, so all right.
No,
introduce
yeah.
now.
All right, Joss.
Right, so we would like to welcome to the show Yves Saint Croissant. And there she is.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you, girls?
Very good. How are
Thank
you?
you.
I'm good. Woke up early to get ready for you. It's 10 a.m. 10 a.m. in my time. So can you imagine what time I woke up to get looking like this?
I get
15 minutes ago.
15 minutes ago. You naturally look like
She woke up like this, babes. She woke up like that. Who are you kidding? Are we frozen? Oh no.
Have we frozen? No. So welcome to the show. First of all, could you just let everyone know a little bit about yourself, and then we'll get started.
Yes. So my name's Yves Saint Croissant, and I like to say just like the pastry, I'm a 100% pleasure with 0 nutritional value. And I'm from San Francisco. I was part of the pioneer group of drag queens that started Drag Queen Story Hour, and we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary this year. So it started in 2015. We're very excited, and I'm just like a positive light for people in San Francisco, and I just like to work the networks and try to create culture that people can still enjoy, because San Francisco is a very vastly changing economic landscape, and a lot of artists and queer people have had to move out because of the expenses of it. So those of us who are still here are trying to hold it down and keep that culture alive and keep it magical.
Oh, that is so amazing. We have followed the drag story time for quite a while. With sometimes mixed opinions because of certain news articles we've seen. But you guys have had a big backlash from a minority, I'm going to call them that because that's all they are, of people who are just, moaning, blah, 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 the usual stuff, like spreading gayness and all the bollocks that they come out with. How are you guys, dealing with that? Because it's so hard and harsh. Some of the things we've seen on YouTube and on the news, that's a struggle, and you guys are still going. We're so proud.
It's really interesting that you bring that up. I've actually had to cross picket lines to go to jobs where I was reading to kids, and it just baffles me because at the end of the day, the parents are bringing their kids to these events, so it's the parents' choice. It's not they're in charge of these little people. So the fact that people get so upset about it. Did you see that? There's a video of a woman screaming at the top of their lungs, "This is so wrong!" She's crying. I'm like, girl, get a grip. It's what does that have to do with you? So it just baffles me that people are taking it to that extreme. But I do have to say, for those of us who live in San Francisco, I feel like it's a much safer environment than, let's say, the middle of America. I feel like that's a little bit scarier. I'm like, do I need a bodyguard if I'm going over there? But yeah, it's just wild. Why do
Isn't that insane that people are getting attacked because you're telling stories to children?
I know,
that's how simple it is. It's you read a book to children?
Yeah.
I am so shocked by that.
Yeah, well, we don't really see, me personally, I don't see it any different to somebody just dressing up as Big Bird and going to read a story to children. You would see nobody protesting that. I just don't get it why parents are protesting something that they don't have to take their children to. All you're doing is teaching children tolerance. What is wrong with that? What is wrong with that?
It's so true.
Nothing.
And when you mention any other creature like Big Bird or whatever, the kids, I've been doing this long enough to really see that the kids just see a creative entity. They're not really thinking what these right-winged people are thinking about is they're seeing us as sexual beings, and yes, that's part of humanity and any creature on this earth, but it's not that doesn't have anything to do with what creativity. And I just want to say, for me, growing up, just wanting to express myself in the way that I finally can today, if I were to see something like that when I was a kid, I would have saved a lot of money on therapy bills. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
We agreed with that. And just touching on what you just mentioned there, the sexualization of things. What we did, no, I don't even think we agreed with anyone. When we made our own assumptions, when we were discussing it personally, obviously our opinion only, we saw a lot of broad, general drag queens in their costumes, like Ben de la Creme, etc., dress as a character. But there was the odd...
It was appropriate for children.
Yeah, it was appropriate for children. But then there was the odd one or two stories and videos we've seen where I think one was just wearing like a corset. It did look very sexual. But for me, I don't believe children look at things like that. So I don't see the joining of lines. But for the protesters, because that's all they see, they're like, oh, you're wearing a corset. I associate that with sexualness. Children don't. So you can't say that's the same for children just because you do. But then what we were shocked to hear and see just recently when we did our research is that someone who had criminal offences against a child had been almost got through the net and was able to tell stories. Nothing happened and there was no bad blood. But obviously they used that as a great weapon of their like power to say, oh, look what happened. You've let pedophiles reading books to children. Is there certain levels of measurements in place to make sure things like that don't happen again, or was that just an accident? What's your opinion on that?
Well, for us in San Francisco, it's a very small group of girls. I think we started as a 5-piece core queen, and because one of them is Honey Mahogany, who is a RuPaul's Drag Race alumni, and she's running for office in San Francisco, and these careers have kind of not allowed them to continue to work. So now it's just us. There's just 3 of us that are kind of passing it around. But to answer your question, I think so. This is some information that not a lot of people know. Drag Queen Story Hour as a whole does not have one sort of board that everyone sits on. Since it did, like I said, it started here and we have like our own little board. But as far as who is doing it in other countries and other states, I'm not really connected with them. But for us, we are very one of the things at the top of our list is to pay artists fair what they deserve, because a lot of drag queens are not getting paid fairly. And the training that we 3 queens had to go through was pretty rigorous. We didn't want to have just any drag queen pulled out of a bar and put on in front of kids, because it does take a certain type of
yes, definitely.
You can't let the kids like take over you and overtake you. You have to have a certain way of dealing with what the task is at hand. So I am surprised that wherever, I didn't hear that story, but yeah, that's a PR nightmare to have someone with offenses like that. So I cannot speak on the whole of it, but for us, we're very trained professionals, and we know how to deal with it.
And it's nice that there is drag queens like yourself in the industry that know how to deal with it, understand the levels, taking it responsibly. But we have seen so much lately, especially with Blair White, who is another YouTuber, transgender YouTuber, shared and commented on a video of
Desmond is amazing.
Desmond is amazing, who is a young drag queen.
A child
drag queen. I don't know how I sit with that yet. I'll figure it out eventually. But the irresponsible people around that person were so irresponsible, talking about ketamine. I think one video he was with someone who was like a convicted murderer, and it was just kind of like this culture, which is beautiful, and we should all express ourselves. Because, like, look, I started expressing myself very young, but for me, I do worry that we are building a culture where everyone's growing and being able to be themselves, but there are predators who are slowly creeping in and finding ways to abuse our freedom for their advantage. Do you feel that in America? Do you see that online? What is your thoughts on that? And of course, the young drag artist.
One thing that you touched on a little bit is kind of what I want to lead with. There, kids these days, let's say a 13-year-old today, is vastly different than what a 13-year-old was when I was a kid. They have like full on their makeup artists because they have access to YouTube tutorials. There's so much culture that they can find just from their Instagram feed, which is got I mean, even in like pop stars, drug culture is kind of looked at as cool. So I I'm not sure exactly if I agree that people are using the freedom that we're expressing as queer people, uh, but as a whole, the world just has access to more and more things, and there are always going to be people that are abusing whatever it is. So I don't know if I think there's anything we can do about it, but it's just it is what it is, and the world is crazy right now.
Yeah. Well, I think the thing we can do about it is show that not everybody is a predator, not everybody is like that, and the majority, like yourself, the storyteller drag queens, do work professionally, understand that they're working with children, and I think that the more of that is seen, that's what we need to see. We need to see positive role models. It's all about positive role models. That's what I get in essence. What the Drag Queen Story Hour is. It's about showing children a positive role model. We seen there was one of the clips online. We seen some lady in America. She was saying, "Oh, children should never see like a man dressed as a woman." In the UK, we have pantomime, and pantomime has a panto dame. So as children, we're exposed to drag really without even realizing it from like a very young age, and it's never been a problem in this country. So it's just about being positive role models.
Jossy, I think that is so true. I feel so strongly what I'm put on this planet for is to be the anti, like this Trump world that is building. It's it's figures like myself and other people that are putting this positive light out. It is what the world needs right now. It's like the opposite. It's the anti that, and I don't know. I just wanted to touch on that because I agree with you.
Yeah.
We love, I think the way the world is going because of positive people like yourself, and I hope me and I hope Jossy and many other people we see out there. But do you think that there's enough of us like doing the positive things, creating the positive message, being the positive face of what we want to be?
Because we always come up against it.
Yeah,
we always come up against anybody who's trying to spread a positive message will always come up against somebody trying to tell them no.
So I think no matter what, there's always going to be that light and dark. So if the question is there enough of us to eradicate the darkness? I'm not sure. I think it's about the existence of duality, which I know I've watched a lot of your videos, and I love how deeply you get into the issues. For me, I one of your videos was about depression and leading to suicide, and I have to say that even though I am this positive light today, I've come from that dark place before. I could tell you some really dark stories that I've had to deal with, and it did, for me personally, have to do with the repression that existed inside of me. I grew up a Jehovah's Witness in a very I don't know, nothing is allowed. I didn't even celebrate my own birthday, and I guess I'm kind of getting off track here, but I am so happy today. I finally fell in love with myself, and I decided recently that in terms of drag gigs, I'm only going to say yes to jobs that make me more in love with myself, and drag queen story hour is always at the top of my list. But I think without knowing the darkness, that what you were talking about in the original question, the light can't be as bright. So in a way, I'm glad that there is this existence of darkness, because it allows my light to shine brighter.
Oh, I really like that. That's really nice.
Well, I was just thinking that, like, you know, you were saying you've obviously been in a dark place in your life, and then you've come out of it. I often think a diamond is created through pressure, and I was told a few weeks ago, shine bright like a diamond, because I've been in a bit of a dark place, and I think that's so true. So I want to say to everybody who's watching, shine bright like a diamond.
Yes.
Yeah, and celebrate being a diamond. Celebrate being a diamond.
Well, touching on mental health, I think everyone in the world is dealing with mental health, but not only the world, but even now in the mainstream world, we are seeing it among people who have, as everyone says, everything, all the money, all the fame, but we're seeing it much more in the mainstream, especially in the UK and in America. It seems to be like a virus spreading amongst us all, because people tend to spread hate. And I mean, as you said, you've watched a lot of our videos, and so have other people supposedly, and we've gotten some like dark hate, you know, like
really?
I get like this and all that, and I was gonna get that, and we're fine with it. But sometimes when people are like, go and kill yourself, and for me, being quite strong, it's really good, and having great support, it's fantastic. But I just worry so much for people out there who try and put themselves out and get the same hater that we have. And I think, as from what you've been saying, you've obviously experienced, it's still quite a scary minefield for people struggling and battling and living with mental health.
Yes. So are you seeing that in like your comments, or like?
We are seeing that in our comments, private messages, like
the lot.
And even though because we report everything, because I think YouTube has a policy to report, we've never had anything back to say like, oh, we're going to look into this. So it's almost like we had I think it was like over 1,000 comments of just hate, just
oh my gosh,
pure hate. And we were like, and the reason it happened is because we're really crap at YouTube, right? So we're really crap at YouTube. So we registered, and we didn't realize we'd made the video into an ad. So
you think it was? You didn't realize you made the video with what?
Like an advert, like it was coming up like as a recommended video, just like you would on Netflix and stuff. But we got people were like, "How dare you make this into an ad? You were just," and we were just like, "We didn't even know we did it. What do you mean it's an ad?" And they were like, "No, of course you did." Now it's trying to explain. Well, wouldn't we be doing that with all of our videos? Like, this is the only video that's got loads of views because we're mainly a Facebook show. Like, this was just an accident. Like, it was a total mistake on our part. No, you are demons.
Yeah. You've had somebody ask us what our grandfathers would have thought about.
Oh yeah, like people even bring in your family. Like, how would your grandfathers have felt that you guys are doing? Someone from a doctor background sent us a list of how our heart is a man's heart, our elbow is a man's elbow, our nose is. It was fucked up. We were like, wow. And then when we started looking into it, we saw so much more of it on, in our opinion, more vulnerable people that we are. Like, we're quite strong. We've got each other and a lot of like support in our family. But we noticed a lot of people who are on YouTube and Facebook who seem more vulnerable than I would imagine Jossy and I come across. getting the same amount of hate, and that was really worrying for me.
Well, I have a question. Like, how did you feel? Did it? I mean, you said you're really strong, but did you have a feeling of, I don't know, what kind of feeling did you have when you dealt with that?
I'll let you go first.
Well, obviously, I was so glad we had so many comments. I was like, please like and share, bitch. No, I did say that. I was like, thanks for watching. Please like and share. It was crazy. No, I genuinely was shocked that, because we never really experienced it, that's what goes on. And I was quite sad that, because I'm such an empath, I was quite sad that there was actually people sat on their own, and I was saying to Jossy, I hope they're okay. Like, to be so upset by our video, they must have someone like an issue, and I hope that. And Jossy was like, "What the fuck? Don't care about those haters." And I was like, "No, you still got to remember, like, they'll come from a place, they've had a journey, and sometimes it makes you bitter." Yeah. And Jossy just said, "Oh, you shouldn't think like that." But hey, it didn't make me worry. It didn't make me sad. It made me more think, God, who are them?
Yeah,
and I think that's good.
I felt disconnected. It really didn't bother me at all, because I thought, I don't know who they are, don't know them. So if I walk past them in the street, I wouldn't know who they are. So it can't affect me because I don't know them. And to be perfectly honest, call us something. I've probably been called it 4 or 5 times before. So if you're going to call us something a bit more creative.
We're from Newcastle, you see. So using like, I've heard like, but not now, but maybe it's 5 years ago, like, you're a man, granny. Like, I've heard it all. So
gadgy. That's our word, gadgy.
So
gadgy.
On a computer, because it was so new to us, we were like, oh, it doesn't bother us. But that's only because we've been toughened by the outside world. So it's kind of like a lot of new people who are just used to being online. When they get such bad comments, I can imagine that would really hit them, because they probably haven't had the hard, tough upbringing us lads had. Do you know what I
mean? Totally. Well, that's good. I have a similar feeling with any kind of hate that I've received so far. Another thing though, like, since we talked a little bit, you said that you're an empath. What is the word? Empathic. I'm very empathic as well. And I have an obligation to post and share my drag side, but I actually can't. At this point in my life, I don't really go on social media to scroll or anything. It just like seeps into me. I try my best to have a bubble of positive protection around me. But it's funny you're mentioning hate. I did a gig. I was just like hired as a go-go 2 days ago, and it was so fun. It was like a 3-story club, and I'm not used to doing stuff like that, like the really big mainstream clubs. There's over 1,000 people, and there's like a catwalk, and one of my idols and who I emulate a lot as a performer is Posh Spice. So I kind of just point and like don't dance a whole lot. And someone got I posted a video, and someone's like, "Wow, you really don't move much. Like, have you been to a drag show and seen how, like," and I kind of got affected by that. I'm like, oh my gosh, that's, but I just was like, I had the same kind of spirit that Fay had about, just like, people that are trolling you are not happy people. And do you know how much confidence it takes to just stand there and get applause and point? Like, you try that, bitch.
Exactly.
But yeah, I think that's the right attitude to have. Is it's gonna happen, like we established earlier. There's always gonna be the haters, but I think that they really come from a place of unhappiness. I think that's why they're leashing out and finding something. And there may even be something within them that is so connected to the issue that they're sort of hating on, that we just gotta send them light and love and move on.
I've always just believed in the mentality. It's obviously coming from a really hard place that they can't fuck me, so they're gonna be nasty to me, and that's fine for me.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. I understand your struggle. You saw me, you were like, damn, hot girl. Then you were like, oh shit, egg on my face.
Hot man.
Hot man, what the fuck? And it's like, not my problem. Like, the biggest egg on Troll's face was when someone shared Christina Aguilera when she was on RuPaul's Drag Race and was like,
yeah.
I can't believe this is a man. And people were like, that's Christina Aguilera, mate. And it was just so funny. We were like, oh, that's so good. For once, it just felt so good to see that. It was like, oh, yeah, I love that. Because he genuinely thought, that's a man. And it was like, no, that's just Christina Aguilera. She wears a lot of makeup. Like, get over it.
that cracks me up.
It was so funny. So, just obviously, since it just started, RuPaul Drag Race is back. Are you a fan? Do you love her?
So I made sure I watched it.
Are you a fan? Do you love it? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm definitely a fan. I've seen every season, I think, and I was a little disappointed because I wanted to see my San Francisco queen, Rock'em Sakura, but she's in the next premiere, so I didn't get to see her at all. But I'm glad they did that. Did you watch it?
Oh, I think it works brilliantly.
I love it.
Yeah,
you're able to get to know everyone.
Wait, what were you saying?
You're able to get to know everyone like a little bit better.
I never remember every first couple of episodes. I can never remember names. I'm like, I don't know.
It's like
but I actually connected with all of them, and I remember their names, I think. And I actually liked all of them.
I thought they were all pretty cool. I thought it was a fresh new look. Obviously, Rue's got money because she's thrown it around for lip syncs and stuff. But she's been working. Girls been working. But what I loved was the ones I usually overlook, as you've said in the first few episodes, and you're like, oh, you don't click with them. Like the indie, the closet. Heidi in the closet. But because it was a longer episode and it was focused, I thought she was an amazing dancer.
Mm-hmm. She did so good in the performance.
Wow. I was like, damn.
I loved it.
It was so good. Did you watch the RuPaul Drag Race UK?
I did. I thought that it was so... I thought the talent was so great. I remember thinking that, it's not a very diverse crowd, but... I kind of got over that once I saw the talent within, like, I can't okay, so now I'm having trouble remembering names, but the one that did the Donald Trump
the Vivian.
The Vivian, oh my god,
she was so funny.
What a formidable person to have to compete against. I would be afraid.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Snatch Game. Who would you do?
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh, I always thought before I saw it actually done, I thought I would do a really quirky Bjork. And I guess so Katya did Bjork, and then did someone else do Bjork too? I think just Katya.
No, I think Katya only did Bjork, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I just would I'm like, do you know much about astrology?
She probably does. She's a smart one.
Okay.
I'm the mouth.
Okay. Yeah, I'm a Cancer.
Oh, so am I.
But you are.
I'm a Gemini.
Wait, what? Oh, you're a Gemini?
I'm a Cancer.
Yeah, but then I think I come across as very serious and because I'm double Capricorn after that. But really, on the inside, I'm a huge goofball, and I'm an only child too. So I would record my own radio shows in my room when I was a kid, and do all the kinds of weird voices. So I think I would have so much fun playing such a airy Bjork would be fun.
She is so. Would you go on RuPaul's Drag Race? Have you ever entered? Have you ever?
I've never tried out before, but the thing about me is I've been doing drag for 5-6 years now, but I kind of, being my Capricorn, as you'll know, Jossy, I kind of approach the art as a business. Not that I make tons of money from it, but I knew that there are those queens that are working every, like, maybe 5 days a week and kind of burning themselves out and probably like partying a lot. And I was like, I'm from the very beginning, I'm like, I'm gonna be a little selective about the jobs that I do and make sure that they have high impact, but not too often. So one of the accomplishments that I'm so proud of is I've become the MC of our Pride. Every year I share the stage. The other MCs are Honey Mahogany, Sister Roma, and my girl Persia, who's actually the first drag queen story hour, and I'm the second to start the whole movement. And then I created a really, you would love it, girls. There's a party I produced called Creature, and it's like a queer oasis of art. And it leans heavy in the dark side. I know that I'm like this light glam girl, but people turn out looks. And I want to plug our Instagram. It's creature_SF, and you'll see just Polaroids of amazing looks. We have a theme. We have installation artists that.
Hello.
Did you lose?
Hello? I saw an eyelash move.
Sorry,
no.
Someone called me. I should have silenced that. Can
Don't
you hear
worry,
me?
don't
Okay?
worry.
Can you hear me? I can
Yeah,
hear you.
yeah.
How do I? Something happened. Should I leave and come back?
We'll kick you out for 2 seconds and bring you back.
Oh, it's not a show if there's not a technical fault.
Can you hear us?
I have no audio now, but you can hear me.
Yeah.
But it's very hard to have a conversation when you can't hear the other person. Okay. I will be right back.
Okie dokie. Well, while we are
While we're
waiting,
for Yves Saint
oh my God, can we
Yeah.
just touch on, we'll come back straight away, but Love is Blind.
Oh,
Oh my
that
God.
Big television.
Love is Blind.
Oh my God,
Spoiler
did you not
alert,
see
spoiler
this?
alert. These got married. These ones, they did actually get married. And then so did these two.
Yeah.
But
Let's
like,
get together.
it was crazy. It was crazy.
A weird concept.
And imagine it in the UK. So basically, the concept is like you're in a room, you're in another room, you got a wall, and they were all like done up.
Oh God, they were like
models. It was ridiculous. If it was in the UK, like they'd be in the onesie, eating a pasty,
hair scrunched
up.
Yeah.
But we did love the concept. We hope there's a season 2. And obviously, while we're on a little break from our interview, please like and share us. Follow us.
Mm-hmm.
We'll try and bring our guests straight back. Oh, sorry. And we're back.
Sorry. Technical difficulties. But I'm having so much fun with you.
It's our trademark.
It wouldn't be us if we didn't have a technical issue.
Oh, good. I feel great now.
Welcome.
Part of the gang.
Touching on what you were saying about drag and how you see it as a job, and of course the many nights that you're part of, which is very friendly to all. As a transgender woman, and Jossy as well, we are so weirdly isolated from the community.
Mm-hmm.
And we put it down to our opinions over the years, which in my opinion has grown, because let's face it, I don't think the same as I did like seven years ago. Yeah. But we almost are shunned for not, as I would say, like walking down the road in a big like gang with flags, like, you know, praising all that kind of transgender, etc. We are almost like living our lives, and we feel sometimes that's not done. As a very respected drag queen and very successful, may I add, do you have any advice for us girls who are seeing a slight disconnect from a community we once felt quite part
Well,
of.
a community that basically we were brought up in.
Yeah, like a community we were brought up in. We are now almost shunned out of because our opinion's a little bit different. We don't always go to drag clubs. We don't always go to gay bars. We're just kind of living our life.
I think that it's challenging based on where you are living, because I watched your show with the drag star from Brighton.
Oh, Lydia Scabies.
Yeah.
I feel like a place like Brighton and San Francisco, it's not as hard. Like,
They're very similar.
yeah, I feel like you said you're living in Newcastle. Well, I've never been. I do know like a little bit of a whisper, and I just feel like the queers of, I say queer because I encompass every flavor of the rainbow within the community. I think that they kind of set up camp in these metropolitan areas. So that's a hard one because it's not easy for everyone to just get up and move. But I think if you can travel and like make friends just for the moment, I feel like we're kind of a family. It's like you might even have family members that you don't want to see necessarily, but like for the most part, when I'm going to like Portland or New York or LA, I'm unfortunately not traveled outside overseas yet, but it is definitely something I want to do. I feel like I would just, if I have a connected person within that community, I'm like, sure, you need a place to stay, here's my keys. Like, I just feel like there's a trust for me in the queer family, and I'm trying to like grasp for what a suggestion I would have for those. But do you see what I mean, Carmen?
Well, yeah, I see what you mean. But for example, when we were transitioning like years and years ago, we remembered being their crutch, and we would push them to be like, yeah, be yourself, do whatever you want to do. And now they have these great careers or great social circles of amazing support. But because we didn't jump on the bandwagon and we weren't like, yeah, you can be like every single thing, no problem. You can literally stand next to me and say you're a woman, but look the way you do. But because I disagree with that, because of everything I've been through to be a woman, I'm then shunned out like a black sheep. And it's crazy because like for us, obviously, like I've transitioned, I've had lots of surgery, etc., to be who I am, to align my body. And it was about a year ago, I disagreed with someone online because they were basically saying they were like me. And this person had a full beard, didn't take any estrogen, was just calling himself a girl, but demanding the same rights as I get. And I was offended by that. And because maybe I was a bit naive, but I don't think I was. I think I was actually in my own right to go, well, hang on a second, you haven't been on my journey. And you can identify as whatever you want, but don't try and come for me. As soon as I disagreed and I wasn't like, yay, fly the flag, I was then like turned into a black sheep. And Jossy did the same when you disagreed with the lady who was trying to say she had a female penis. And it's like we keep getting shunned for having an opinion, but
it's an opinion based on experience.
It's an opinion based on real life experience. Like we've walked this path and we've been on it probably earlier than most people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so hard. I mean, where's my fucking followers? Where's my fucking friends, man? No, it's like, it's just so frustrating. Like recently we went to an event and we were shunned and I was like, this is bullshit. And like we were like supporting, so it was like stupid.
What exactly was that experience like when you felt shunned? Like what was happening?
Oh, I felt like I was literally like second week wearing makeup in the middle of Chesley Street in me like mid school, and they were like, "You can't sit with us," and I was just like, "Oh!" But now not because I'm like blowing my own trumpet, but I'm fabulous. I love my life. I have great things. I have loads of dogs. So I was just like, in my mind, I was like, whatever, I'm just going to go back to my great life. If you don't want to have me part of your life, then fuck off.
Yeah.
And it was a weird sensation because some of these people I would have classed as friends, and it was just so, and even Jossy was like, I don't feel part of the community anymore. And that was a bit of a shame.
It's like, okay, so from what I'm hearing, it seems like there's a time in your life when you are a part of this group of people and you're like this colorful queer, and then it's almost like they're treating you after transitioning like you've become basic or something. Is that what they're saying? Or
oh my god, that's a good point, because it happens the same with men. Like when I pre-op, I had loads of cock. Post-op, none. I have to literally pick between the straight guys. I mean, how boring is that? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's so interesting because it's like this life that you've been wanting to have for so long, and then you finally have it, and then there's the double-edged sword of losing some of the maybe privileges that you had before.
Yeah, for me, I kind of almost say it because I would always say I transitioned to be a woman, a heterosexual woman. So for all intents and purposes, I've assimilated into that straight. I don't like the word cisgender, but I'll use it. A cisgendered world. Have successfully kind of just navigate through that. And that's sometimes for me, I think, is it me purely just not feeling part of the LGBT community anymore? Because maybe I'm not, but I would always say I'm a woman with a trans history, and I'll never deny my history. I'm quite proud of it. I wouldn't be who I was today if it hadn't been for that little boy who made that decision all those years ago to transition.
You were a boy? What the fuck?
Well, kind of.
Like, it seems like being a woman's like not cool. That's weird.
History, we all know history. It's not. It's women are amazing for me, and like I always in my drag have appreciated women so much, and I want to emulate as much femininity as I can, but historically women have gotten the short end of the stick.
Yeah, oh well, yeah, I agree with that. I definitely see that through transition, and like the way you try it as a woman as opposed to how I was treated as a boy. I can't really say man because I was quite young when I transitioned, but just knowing how you get treated in the world, you know, I also have so much respect for women for that reason, because I would never say that whatever I go through is the same as a born woman, but I have an understanding of what that's like. I'm not saying I know exactly what it's like, but I have an understanding. So my respect for women is so high. This is the thing which you've just said, where you've just said you respect women. A lot of drag queens get accused of woman face, of being offensive to women, which I don't think is true at all. I think drag is an art form. It's entertainment. It should be fun, and that's just how I feel on that.
It should be fun, and it should be almost like I miss the good old days where it was just a good laugh.
Yeah, like a sense of community.
Community, but at least we've got each other.
Yeah, well,
and all you people around the world that we talk to weekly, because we've got no friends. So,
yeah, but I think maybe
like in the fight,
meet my friends now. I'm in San Francisco, and I'm gonna visit you.
Maybe it's not just us who feel this way in the LGBT community, because look at Pride. From what I've seen, and I'm in my early 30s, so I'm not really old. But I can see how much Pride has changed just from what it was like when I was starting to go out. We used to have a big street party on our scene. We don't have that anymore. It seems very commercialized. And I don't know if that's got something to do with just the general sense of community for everybody. And the LGBT community is also a part of that, where we're not the same community that we used to be years ago. And I think it's a bit of a shame.
I agree with that, yeah.
And I think... I don't know what the proper term would be, but, you know, so us having discussions with drag queens, with gay men, with lesbians, us just talking to each other, like you say, we're a family. And I'm very strong on that LGBT, and I think it should remain LGBT. the history of the LGBT. We must honor it. We must honor those that went before us because they were in this struggle together. They opened these doors for us, which we walked through. So we should respect them and try and keep ourselves together as a community.
I so agree with that. And
Preach!
Sorry, I'm a so
God, she went off away.
Wow.
I'm usually the gob. How
I'm so
how
glad
do
you
you
did. Sorry.
feel? How do you feel that as a concept that we, as trans people, we're dealing with? Have you ever experienced that in the drag community?
Interesting.
Have you ever seen like once someone's almost like, for instance, went into the RuPaul world and mainstream, are they then shunned or welcomed back, or how
seen as a sellout?
Yeah, like, or seen as a sellout because we've spoken to people who think RuPaul's complete bullshit, and you know that's their opinion, etc. Have you ever seen that in the drag community?
I think in my experience, it's interesting because I don't know what it's like in other cities, but there are so many of us in San Francisco. There's so many drag queens, and I think there's so many new queens every year, and every year there's more and more new queens. And I think this explosion of drag into the mainstream, like commercialism, is breeding more queens that actually want that. So I'm kind of surrounded by people that really, really want that. But I do have to say though, my elder and like sort of the grandmother of drag here in San Francisco living today, her name is Mr. David Glamamore, who's also a fashion designer who is from New York and romped around with Ru back in the day. And this person is a very big reason why I decided to move to San Francisco. I moved here 10 years ago and I saw them perform, and they've just sprinkled so much magic. But as far as what they believe, we don't really need to be on RuPaul's Drag Race is very soon going to be not the only commercial source to see not only drag queens but transgendered youth and the whole spectrum of queer. I think the world is hungry to hear these stories because things, like you've said, have become so, you use the word commercialized, but I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think my favorite thing about all of this is giving people a platform. I think that the world is ready to hear more of the story because maybe they're bored of the Kardashians. I don't know. But
just a little bit. Well, they're literally hitting each other now live on their shows just to get views. It's quite insane. We're gonna take this into a little bit of a darker direction, so bear with us. So our final story on our show tonight is about a little boy, and there's been a huge documentary on Netflix.
The trial of Gabriel.
The trial of Gabriel Fernandez, who was a little boy, completely abused by his parents, let down by services, let down by everyone, really. This little boy, his parents, his stepfather was sentenced to death. His mum was allowed to live but be in prison for the rest of her life. And we'd been researching it. We didn't know if we were going to talk about it. We then obviously knew you were coming on from USA. So we were like, well, let's do it, but not on our own. We'll get like third person's opinion.
But it's important to say the reason.
Oh, yeah. We want
more or less why this poor child was tortured and murdered. It's because the parents thought he was gay. That it just saddens me so much that just somebody thinking that somebody could be gay is reason to abuse a small child.
Yeah.
We've seen it all over Facebook over the weekend, so obviously that's how we got to know about it.
I binge watched it. Yeah. I'm a good watcher of shows. Watching it, seeing how much people failed them, a lot of, I mean, there was some social workers who had charges brought against them. They were dropped eventually. As I said, dad was sentenced to death. Mum was allowed to live but stay in prison. But it went further. Teachers noticed, and all as they did was pick up the phone. And we looked into this further. 2 weeks after the sentencing of his parents, another little boy who openly came out as gay was then killed in the same neighborhood by his parents. And then within the trial and the death of the new boy, over 150 young children had actually been killed. We've experienced small parts of that in Britain.
Mm-hmm.
It's never really been surrounded by, oh, that was because the person was gay.
No, but child abuse.
But we've had child abuse. What are your thoughts on that? Did you hear? Obviously, you must have heard about that story. Have you seen the show? Have you seen the documentary? For us, it was shock, horror.
Mm-hmm.
How on earth can anyone do that? Keep a little boy in a box, make him eat cat. Just the levels of abuse and torture was just emotional. Even my boyfriend was like, "Wow, this is hard to watch." And as someone who lives in the USA, do you feel like this is actually a big issue? And just because it's of course in the USA, we're not actually seeing it as much, because when I watched the show itself and then started researching it, it's happened a lot. It's happened a lot, and a lot of these have been hate crimes against their own children. It's insane.
I cannot imagine what kind of turmoil people would be going through to take it to this level. It just, being an empathic person, I don't know if I could. I feel like it'd be really hard for me to watch, and it might stay with me in a dark way. It is so sad to hear that. In terms of what I've experienced, it just baffles me. I'm kind of speechless, to be completely honest. It's so sad.
I apologize if I caught you off guard.
Oh no, that's okay. I'm totally okay talking about it, but yeah, I don't really, the way that I kind of live my life is through the law of attraction, and I try to, I'm kind of like that. Have you ever heard of Pollyanna?
Mm-hmm.
I kind of like live in this positive bubble, so when I do like think about stuff like that, it does kind of catch me off guard, because I think I've accepted that the world's going to shit, and as long as I can find my internal peace and spread my positivity within my bubble, then I can survive like the crash of the world. But yeah,
do you think we're responsible, though? Do you think, because we do that as well, we do that, we're in our little bubble as long as we're okay, but only lately I've started to think like, whoa, like, do I need to be doing more? Like, I'm a survivor of abuse. I've lived with mental health most of my life, but I'm a fighter, and I continue as much as I can. But do you think that some of us are becoming complacent? We do it, as you've just said, sometimes you do it. And should we be almost fighting these head on? I personally think I couldn't do that as an empath. I think I'd get too involved and probably do something stupid. And if I saw the person, I'd be like, I'm going to kill you. And like, it would just be a bad situation. Do you think, because we're so empathic, it's a word that we've only made up, you know what it is. Do you think it's selfish of us, or do you think it's survival instinct kicking in? Because I sometimes think it's a survival instinct.
Yeah, I actually agree with the survival thing, because maybe like I've touched on it, but yeah, I have hurt myself so bad that I got myself into a coma, like really wanting to check out in life. I'm like, how can I like do this? How can I make this happen? And what resources do I have at my disposal to get the job done? And then coming out of that experience, That was a while ago, but I think maybe 14 years ago was like my last serious suicide attempt. But I kind of came out of that wanting to go the other way, and I've had my struggles along the way, but I think it is kind of new, but I think what I'm doing right now to stay positive is really working for me. And I've always been on like antidepressants, and I haven't been for maybe a year now, and I feel so good. I think I think it is tough to hear stories like that and see and try to get involved with ways to prevent that. But at the same time, you can only help someone from drowning if you yourself are not going to drown in the process. So I see both points.
Yeah, but I think what you're doing with the drag story time is obviously teaching the young generation about tolerance. So let's just hope that that's going to resonate, and we're going to see more tolerant people in a more tolerant society where these bad folks just don't really come to the equation. Yes, they're going to be there, but there's going to be enough of the open-minded, nice people to say, "All right, man, shut up."
Can I be devil's advocate?
You can be devil's advocate.
I am all for everyone being who they want to be, and I love drag story time. But because we have such a clearly a divide in society and generation where people are obviously hurting children for being who they want to be, or attacking trans women, or as recently we've just read in the paper, someone's house was set on fire because they were transgender. Do you feel like we should be teaching, but also the government and everyone should be putting more precautions in for these people that we're teaching, that they can be themselves? Because we've never really lived in a world where you can just be you no matter what. And it's almost sometimes I worry, and I don't agree with it, but I worry because I've got to be devil advocate. If we teach everyone to be who they want to be and we don't teach them that, but sometimes in society it's quite dangerous. Do you think that that'll balance itself out? Do you think there'll be enough people taught that to be yourself, and there's so many colors of the rainbow, we will cancel the generation of you can't be this, you can't be that out? Or do you think it'll always be almost like a up-down scenario until, I don't know, maybe it's 20, 25 years, which is a long time if you think about it? What do you think about that?
I have hope that we can turn things around and become a better world and society. And actually, the kinds of ideas that this new generation of kids are bringing about, we know the environmentalist Greta, I can't say her last name, but
Thunberg.
I think it's pronounced
Thunberg. I think they're going to bring to the table a lot of innovative ways and ideas to turn things around, but I don't know if it's going to be too little too late. So I really think, girls, that the best way to go is find what we are each individually passionate about. And this is coming from Oprah. Always do the right thing. It's actually really hard. Sometimes she was kind of giving like an example of, I'm not going to go into it, but we all know what is right and what is wrong. And if you're constantly living each moment and letting that compass guide you and doing the right thing, I think honestly that's what has contributed so much to my happiness right now. Is I'm not perfect. I definitely make mistakes, and I definitely have some things that I wish I didn't do, but at the same time, everything has to come from within. It's an inside job, in other words, of finding what we're supposed to do on this planet and being good human beings, and then spreading, and I think encouraging everyone to engage more on an IRL level.
Well, I think change is possible. I mean,
yeah.
Speaking of when you were in a coma, I was actually in a coma about
4 years.
4 years ago, I had influenza type A pneumonia. So I was put into a coma and I had to recover. It was quite a long experience. But when I came out of that coma, I was a different person. Completely. I was like, God, I could have died. Like, it was so much of a wake up. Previously, I was this big head, big eyelashes, tits up here kind of girl. Ridiculous, actually. But I was still an okay person, but I was quite shallow, and I'll openly admit that I was. I was so materialistic. And when I came out of my coma, I was like, Jossy's thinking she hasn't fucking changed. I can see it in her eyes. She's like, whatever, bitch. You're still a cunt.
One thing that goes into delusion.
Yeah,
Delusion.
delusions. No, but it really gave me a feeling of like self-awareness, and like it's so weird how I am now. Like, I would never have been as open as I am in my relationship. Like, when I see a problem, I would have just like sat on it and not said anything. And now I'm like the most direct person. I'm like, right, I've seen this issue. I love you, or whatever I'm discussing. If we can fix it, everything will be sorted. But we have to fix it because it creates a negative vibe for me. And people are sat there like, what? Who are you? And it's just so strange. I just don't want the negativeness that I often was surrounded by, because I used to be quite addicted to drugs. My mental health, I never looked after properly. I was loose and free, if you know what I mean. We've all been there. Yeah. And I look back now and I completely hate that person, but I've got to be that person to be this person. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look at me now. I mean, I'm fabulous. Fabulous, darling.
You are, darling.
So tell us, what's next for you? Where are you? Is the book story? Is the story time growing? Are you performing anywhere else, especially in the USA? And do you think you'll ever come to the UK?
Yeah, actually, to start with your last question, I was meant to go to UK and stay in Newcastle actually last year, because me and Persia got tickets to the Spice Girls because we're like obsessed, and we actually started a girl group here that includes a trans woman, a lesbian, a bearded queen, and then me and Persia, two fabulous drag queens. And we call ourselves the Spice Queers that have been around for 5 years. Anyway, I had a tough year last year, so I had some unforeseen occurrences that didn't allow me to go, but I really, really want to make it. Persia ended up having to go by herself, so I want to make it up to her and like come back, or make a trip to go back. So definitely, yes, I would love to come to the UK. And then in terms of Drag Queen Story Hour, I actually have an exciting gig coming up. So St. Patrick's Day is coming up, and I got approached by an Irish bar, and they want to. I've never done Drag Queen Story Hour in a bar before, but it's actually a very posh bar that serves food, and they want me to read. I usually come with my own books and my own curriculum, but they want me to do Irish folk tales, and I'm really looking forward to that, because for me, in terms of, like I said, I'm a business bitch. Revenue sources, I think, and for someone who has been producing club events for, I think, 3 years, 3-year anniversaries coming up, I find that it's tough to get bodies into the club. Sometimes it's a gamble too. Sometimes you have a ton and sometimes you don't. But I think this idea of bringing kid events into spaces that you wouldn't think are kid friendly, I think there's a lucrative idea there. So
well, if there's money in it,
exactly,
give us the concept and we'll start it in the UK. France,
Okay.
that bitch.
Yes, I think that it actually. I know it's not, unfortunately, because of Brexit and everything, but I know that it has happened in Ireland, in Dublin, actually, because I work with kids in my day job too. But anyway, I'm excited about that. My 3-year anniversary for Creature. As you can see, I have Creature posters right there. That's the first and second. The 3-year anniversary of Creature is on March 20th. the Drag Queen Story Hour I'm doing next, I think, is March 15th. And then other than that, I think I have my sights set on that, and then we'll work on the other ones. But there's little fill-in gigs that I have here and there.
Well, our exciting news for you, because you're in the USA, is we are trying to build a concept to come over to America. So we're going to take this show on tour, probably either at the end of the year or early next year. We have so much stuff going on this year. But we kind of want to do it where we want to plan everything. So we want to have a few days of like being bougie, tits up here, you know, all that stuff. But then we want to do like really like getting into the world of like our world, but in the USA.
Seeing what it's like.
Interview people, see the clubs, interview people who are actually making a difference and doing things. So when we know more details, we'll hit you up.
Yes, when we are in San Francisco.
We'll probably ask for your keys so we can stay over.
Yeah, I would love to show, because everything we talked about, you would die. Like the inclusivity of this community in San Francisco has LGBT and Q and I. It's like, it's so fun. And then last but not least, I kind of got caught off because my friend called me, but I have stepped my pussy up this year. I've been kind of slow and steady wins the race. So now that I'm in my 6th year and I've invested and I'm continuing to, I am going to apply for Drag Race and we'll see what happens.
Ooh, you heard it here first.
Oh, I heard it here first.
Yves Saint Croissant. Doesn't that name need to be?
I love it.
I absolutely love it.
And the winner of RuPaul Drag Race season 13 is
Yves Saint Croissant.
Sounds good.
I missed the 13 one, so at the earliest I'd be 14.
Okay. Finally from us, we always do this at the end, especially we did it recently with US. If you know anyone who we might find interesting, who would like to come on our show, please, we want to interview everyone. Fucker.
Yeah.
I want to talk to everyone and get everyone's concept of everything that we talk about, because I believe having an opinion isn't a bad thing. Sharing everyone's opinion is going to get everyone talking.
Exactly. We don't always have to agree.
Oh, no, I don't agree.
Fine.
I don't agree with everyone.
Fine.
People don't agree with us, but we want to talk to everyone. So if you know anyone, guys, girls, dolls, pigeons, ferrets,
broccoli,
put them in touch with us.
will. I already have like 2 ideas for you.
Ooh. Kayla, we just want to give you an applause for joining us. We love you. Can't wait to see all the brilliant things you're going to do in the future. Thank you so much for joining us.
Bye, Fay and Jossy.
Bye.
Bye.
Oh, she was fabulous. I loved her.
I loved her, and she looked so good.
Awesome
Girls, take
Absolutely
notes.
loved it.
That's how to come on our show.
That is how,
looking like that.
That is how it should be. It should be us all talking together, and we may all be a little bit different, but that is absolutely fine. We can have some different opinions, and it is absolutely fine. We don't have to have a massive argument about it just because we think.
Oh, shut up, Jossy. Don't forget, guys, follow us.
I was going to do that, but
follow us on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. If you aren't following us, then what the hell are you doing? And don't forget, click the bell so you get alerts for when we go live or when we post new content. Once again, we want to thank our guest. I loved our guest. And we welcome you out there. If you want to come on our show and tell us we're right, we're wrong, we're full of crap, then we welcome you. Come join us.
You know,
not like bring it on, but like bring it on.
Bring it on. Yeah.
Right, guys, it's been absolute pleasure. Please like and share this video
and subscribe.
We will see you all soon.